Welcome back to the Boot Tragedies. And with the 40th pick in the draft, the Saints select defensive end Isaiah Foskey. Now, my apologies off the rip because I definitely had him mocked to the Saints earlier this offseason. Remember, I did some Senior Bowl tape, and I definitely had him. He was going crazy out there, winning one-on-one battles, looking athletic, looking strong, looking physical. And for some reason, when I thought, about the second-round picks we should draft, he just slipped my mind. I guess that's what happens, man. It's a lot of good players in the draft, especially, that mid. The first round to about the third round, all these players are interchangeable, and he literally just slipped my mind. I definitely knew we were going to go defensive end, an edge rusher, and I'm glad we went with him because honestly, he slipped my mind. And let's kind of talk about his college career, which he had an excellent college career at Notre Dame. We can start off with his freshman year. Didn't really play 3 games. Now let's get down to the nitty gritty, man. His sophomore season at Notre Dame, played in 9 games, had 20 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, and 4.5 sacks. That's a pretty good sophomore season. But the last 2 years is where he exploded on the scene, where he really went crazy. In my opinion, his junior season, played in 13 games, had 52 total tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss, and 10 sacks. Also had 6 forced fumbles that season. That junior season, he definitely could have went pro. I mean, you're coming off a 50-plus tackle season, 9.5 tackles for loss, and over 10 sacks. 6 forced fumbles, 1 pass deflection, and 2 fumble recoveries. He definitely could have came out, but he came back another season at Notre Dame, and he came back and produced again an even better season, finishing with 44 total tackles, 13.5 tackles for loss, so that's 4 more tackles for loss, and 10.5 sacks, a half more sack. So basically putting back-to-back, 10 sack seasons together. The Saints have been taking project guys at the defensive end spot in Davenport and Peyton Turner where the numbers weren't there. The physical tools were there, but the numbers didn't back it up. This guy has both of those. He has the physical tools and he has the numbers to back it up. Now, obviously, the numbers won't translate right into the NFL. Playing right end or left end, wherever he's going to play, you're not just going to beat NFL left tackles and right tackles right off the bat. But a guy that's produced already at Notre Dame and a guy that has the physical tools, I'm more excited about this pick than the Brian Brzee pick. Not saying that the Clemson defensive tackle was bad. This guy is just, I think he's going to be a hell of a player. And the defensive tackle is just never the sexy pick, let's just be honest. Even though I think he's going to be a really, really good player, no one falls in love with the defensive tackle. We want the flash. We want the edge rushers, the quarterbacks, the receivers, the running backs. And this guy's going to be an absolute monster for the Saints. And I'm super, super excited to watch this film. The guy went to the combine and had an absolute fantastic day at the combine. Let me find some of his combine stats. 4.5 40-yard dash. 4.5 40-yard dash. This guy is 6'5", 265 pounds. So he's actually on the smaller side, for the Saints. We use like those 270, 280 guys. So look, they stepped outside their comfort zone just a little bit. He's not as, as big as the Cam Jordan, Peyton Turner, and Marcus Davenport. But the guy's a freak athlete, like I said. 4.5 40-yard dash, 34-inch vertical jump, 10.5 broad jump, 7.2 cone drill, over 20-plus reps, 22 to be exact, on the bench press, 4.4 20-yard shuttle. All of the tools, all of the physical tools, the athletic tools he has. This also should have been a no-brainer pick for me. Like I said, that's my apologies. I could have told y'all we were going to pick him because the Saints always pick from the Senior Bowl. This guy who did not have to go to the Senior Bowl, who had a really, really good career at Notre Dame, decided to go to the Senior Bowl, which I like. Decided to compete against some seniors, decided to, compete against some of the better guys in the country. He did that. He earns himself the number 40th pick in the draft. I'm honestly mad at myself that he slipped my mind. I'm glad he slipped my mind because maybe he slipped some minds of some other, GMs in the NFL, and I'm glad the Saints got this pick. If we'd have picked him in the first round, I honestly wouldn't have been mad at that. If we had him at 29, I would have not been mad at that. I think he's going to be that good, that athletic, a guy that's produced. I'm going to keep saying that word, a guy that has produced coming out of college. No offense to Peyton Turner, but we can look up his, numbers coming out of college. He had a total in 4 years at Houston. He played 4 years at Houston. 8 games, 11 games, 12 games, and 5 games in his 4 years. He had 9.5 sacks, 23.5 total loss, tackles for loss, 9.5 sacks in 4 years. 1 forced fumble in 4 years. Foskey did that in a season, in 1 season at Notre Dame. Actually, pick a season, junior or senior. He outdid Peyton Turner's 4-year career at Houston with one of his last years at Notre Dame. Like I said, a guy that has produced. So I do think the Saints got a really, 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 really good player right here, man. The edge rushers, a lot of good edge rushers in this draft, and the Saints got them one. We all knew that the Saints had to beef up that defensive line. Last season, the defensive line got his ass kicked all over the field. Let's be honest. Onyemata, Kentavious Street, Shai Tuttle, Malcolm Roach, those guys didn't produce at the highest level. Cam Jordan, he did his thing. Marcus Davenport, Peyton Turner, whoever you want to name, those guys did not produce. When you have Cam Jordan, Caden Ellis, and Demario Davis leading the team in sacks, that's a problem. We had to get younger. We had to get quicker. We had to get more athletic at those positions, and we did it. Getting more athletic at the defensive tackle position is always going to be hard because you really can't find 300-pound men that can move like that. But we found one. And guess what? We found another edge rusher that can really move, that can really get after the quarterback. We got younger, we got faster, we got quicker. This is an excellent, excellent first 2 picks for the Saints. Get in the trenches. If you watched my video yesterday, I said, man, the best teams in NFL, guess what? Their offensive line is really, really good, and their defensive line is really, really good. I wouldn't be surprised if the Saints went offensive line with their next pick. It would not concern me whatsoever. I would actually love it to death if we went offensive line with our next pick, man. You got to get those trenches together. Now you're looking at a really, really good defensive line. And the good thing is these rookies won't come in and have to just start right away. You got Kalen Saunders and Nathan Shepard that you just signed. I think you brought back Malcolm Roach. You still have Cam Jordan, Peyton Turner. Who knows what he's going to do? You still got Tano. You still got Carl Granderson. So it's a lot of guys in that mix. Now you're throwing Foskey. You're throwing Brian Brissy. It's going to be a lot of guys in that mix. It's going to be a lot of guys fighting for playing time, and that's only going to bring out the best in players. We're going to be so deep on that defensive line, man. Right now, I'm counting every guy that's basically on the roster. It's just on the roster. It's going to be 8 to 9 guys deep. We don't really need another edge rusher or defensive tackle. I think the defensive line for the 2023-2024 season is set. Like I said, it's Cam Jordan, that's 1. Peyton Turner, he's going to be on the team, that's 2. Nathan Shepard, Brian Brissy, obviously the first-round draft pick, that's 4. You got Kalen Saunders and Malcolm Roach, that's 5 and 6. Carl Granderson, that's 7. Tano Passamwa, that's 8. And now you add Isaiah Foskey. Obviously, he's going to make the team as the 40th pick. That is 9 guys deep on the defensive line. Obviously, we're going to bring more guys in to compete, practice squad, training camp spots and things like that. But that defensive line is set. It is super set on the defensive line. Now I think we need to look forward to maybe getting the receiver, maybe getting the offensive lineman. But I do think, honestly, I think our defense is set. Let's be honest. I think our starters may end up being, Cam Jordan, Kalen Saunders, Brissy, and then Foskey's going to eventually end up starting. If you go with those 4, then with Pete Warner, Demario Davis, then you have obviously Marshawn Lattimore, Tyrann Mathieu, Paulson Adebo, Orlante Taylor, and Marcus May. That defense is set. That's a high-powered defense. Going to pick up right where we left off last year. And then you look at the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, you got Derek Carr, Elvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, tight end Jawan Johnson. Maybe bring a backup for him. But then you look at the offensive line. You got Trevor Penning. Questions, jury still out on him. Andres Pete, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Ron Ramchick. I think this is going to be Pete last season. So that's 5 guys. You really got your starters. But then after that, you got James Hurst, Kelvin Throckmorton, Landon Young. I would like to get us a guard, maybe a backup role this year as a 3rd round pick, and then maybe move into that starting role. Because like I said, I think it's going to be Andres Pete last season. But man, this is about Isaiah Foskey, and I really love this pick. I'm super mad that he just left my train of thought when I was going over 2nd round draft picks, but I'm glad we did it. Let me know what y'all think about him in the comments below. As always, this is the Boot Tragedies, and I'm out.